What is going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. I want to talk about Resto Shaman today. I'm going to go over the talents right now. Then we'll get into the video as well pretty quickly. Let me just do a brief overview of kind of what's going on with Resto Shaman. I wanted to do a video on this for a little while, but the big changes that came in recently for Resto Shaman in 10.0.5 is something I was kind of waiting for to see if what changes were going to be made. And the biggest one, of course, is to Acid Rain. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, let me just go over these talents and talk about what's important here, and then we'll get to the video. Some really important ones on the class side, I think, to make Resto Shaman work quite well is the extra stuff for the totems here. So 6 seconds on the cooldown on your totems is actually a really big deal for Healing Stream Totem. Having double shield, I think, is also pretty cool. Not essential. I actually found in the dungeon that I ran that my personal Earth Shield didn't get consumed all that much, so you might just only need one shield. But then it's a really quick access to Totemic Surge, so, I mean, it's either way. You put 1 point into extra shield with Elemental Orbit, or you go into Spirit Walker's Aegis. Probably better, Graceful Spirit, sorry. Probably better to just go Graceful Spirit there. But that's a change you can make. Mana Spring Totem is really huge, because I do not run Water Shield on this build. I'll get to that in a second. AG is one of your best cooldowns. You need to get it. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. The rest of it is kind of whatever. I would go Gust of Wind for sure. It's nice to get Brimming with Life, the extra health. It's nice to get a Cheat Death in Nature's Guardian. And I like the extra point in Totemic Focus to make my Healing Stream Totem duration longer. It's actually really, it's basically a throughput increase, and I would want to probably put 1 extra point in here, but I did put 2 points in Surging Shields to increase the healing of Earth Shield by 25%. So some really good ones here. I think the MVP for me is actually Cudgel, and I'll talk about that in the dungeon as well. You can see multiple times when enemies are trying to get off their spells that they get stunned twice in a row. Very, very strong. On the spec side of things, we're looking at Acid Rain for our damage, Stormkeeper, and then Call of Thunder. Those are your big DPS buttons that you are talents you need to take. And then we're coming down here getting big Earth Living stuff, getting a proc for Deeply Rooted Elements, combining it with Primal Tidal Core, and taking Undulation, which I think is pretty standard for most people. I am running Mana Tide Totem as an easy access to get to Earthen Wall Totem. I really love Earthen Wall Totem. And then Master of the Elements is a really big new change that just happened in 10.0.5, giving us a 20% boost to our next spell, basically regardless of what it is, after we cast Lava Burst. Very important there. I am running Living Stream instead of Cloud Burst. I really, really like this instead of Cloud Burst in dungeons, because I think that the healing streams start ticking for an absolute giant amount of healing. You can see over the course of the dungeon, Healing Stream Totem did 15% of our healing, so I think it's quite worth it. Yeah, that's all I'm going to touch there on the talents. I will continue to talk about them as we get into the dungeon. I just wanted to show you guys kind of what I was up to there. So let's take a look at the dungeon itself. Get my camera up over here. And I'm going to go through, yeah, a bunch of stuff here for you guys. So this is a +10. It's not the craziest dungeon that I've done, but this is an alt character for me. I'm not geared like at all. So what I want you to pay attention to in the early bit here is actually how much damage we're able to pump out passively now with Healing Rain / Acid Rain, of course. So what you want to do is try to make sure the enemies are grouped up in a single spot and get your Healing Rain down. And then I'm just pumping damage with Chain Lightning. Basically, what I want to be doing as a Resto Shaman in Mythic Plus now is putting Healing Rain on the ground as quickly as possible, and then putting out some Riptides and a Healing Stream Totem to passively heal everybody, and then pump as much damage as I can pump. And for those of you guys who are frustrated with sort of the meta of WoW healers in terms of the fact that they have to do damage now, I mean, that is just the way the game sort of is. So if you don't like that, then I'm sorry about that, but that is how it works. If you stand in big beams of wind, then you're going to die, and I can't really help that guy when he does that. I make a lot of mistakes in here, so, you know, I haven't run Resto Shaman in a long time, so, you know, cut me some slack there. I should have put Earthen Wall Totem down right now. I keep looking at it, and it's kind of triggering me. But bottom line is, one thing that's been missing from Resto Shaman in Mythic Plus is passive damage. And I think that single target damage has actually always been fine for Resto Shaman, but passive AoE damage has been a bit of a struggle. And you can look at other healers like Holy Paladin and say they've got Consecration. They can press Divine Toll, which is one button, which immediately puts your Holy Shocks all over the place, which is really good. And there's lots of other healers that just have really strong passive damage that's going on that the Resto Shaman has kind of struggled with for a little bit. So we're talking about like big AoE buttons that just do lots of damage. This was a really unfortunate pull. They pulled everything together and then didn't kick Monotonous Lecture. I'm asleep this entire time. I'm able to spam a link at the last second, but everybody's dead, so it doesn't matter. Very frustrating pull. Let me just zoom on ahead here. Really stupid of those guys. So we try it again and we go a little bit slower like any normal person. Like, it's fine to pull all that stuff, but you need to actually have coordinated kicks, and these guys didn't. So look at the damage that we're pumping out right now. We're doing like 23k, 24k with the Healing Rain down, and now 33k. So between Stormkeeper and Healing Rain, which is Acid Rain now, you're able to get a ton of extra damage on these mobs. And you can see people are dying a little bit, but that's okay. We're about to bring them back up. That guy, where did he die from? I'm not sure what he was getting hit by. Oh, he's getting autoed because he's doing a lot of damage. So he's actually getting auto attacks. That's why I typed tank here with a question mark, I think, because I can't heal that guy. He's not a tank, and he's getting auto attacked. The tank just lost aggro there. So anyway, there was a lot of issues early on in this dungeon, but we kind of recovered. But here's the bottom line with Resto Shaman. You want to be trying to do as much damage as you can now passively, and that comes from your Healing Rain being on the ground and then your big Chain Lightning. And then you want to supplement all the healing for people. Basically, you can control that with your Earth Shields being out, slapping people with Riptides, and getting your Healing Stream Totem on the ground at all times. With the tier set bonus, when your Healing Stream Totem is down, you get 10% more crit, which is actually a really big deal. I only have 11% crit, I think, on this character right now. It's abysmal. But here's what I'm talking about. My Healing Rain's on the ground. I'm pressing Chain Lightning. I'm going to heal up this warrior because he's taking aggro, I think. He gets Monotonous Sleep, so I cleanse him. Then I try to kick Monotonous Sleep. I'm just putting my totem down, and I'm making sure to Riptide people, and if they really need a heal, I'll hit them with a Healing Surge. And I have Undulation here, which means my Healing Surge is going to just crack people. It's going to hit for like 100k. So that's really, really cool. But mostly I'm focusing on trying to do damage. You can see I'm doing 35k for crying out loud. I'm 375 item level. I should have showed that at the beginning, but I'm 375 item level. We're just not that, like, I'm not that geared on this character. So, really, really insane how much damage you're able to do now just with the Acid Rain from healing her. So that should be your priority. Trying to get Healing Rain on the ground and then just kind of passively heal people with the Earth Living procs from your Riptide. Get your Riptides out. Your Healing Rain will heal the melee people as well, which is really efficient. And then, of course, big healing surges when they need it. Get your Healing Stream Totems down. There's some other buttons that are really good for basically passively healing your group and allowing you to do damage at the same time. So number one is going to be Healing Tide Totem. This is our big, like, cooldown totem, but realistically, guys, in a key, you should just be throwing down Healing Tide Totem, like, all the time. Use it as a tool to buy you time to be able to do damage. That's what you want to be doing. It sounds really silly, but that is the biggest benefit of Healing Tide Totem, is that it does decent healing over sort of a period of time. It's nothing like Trank or Mistweaver's Revival. Like, it's nothing like those. But what it is a consistent HPS output that's going to be helping you. And that's going to be a really big deal because it allows you, again, to do damage. All we're trying to do on Resto Shaman is buy time so that we can put Healing Rain on the ground and cast Chain Lightning. That's what we're trying to do. Here comes my Healing Rain. Here comes my big Chain Lightning. Boom, my damage is going to skyrocket right here. Up to 30k almost. So that's what you want to do. And the real skill cap with the Acid Rain build is to make sure you're putting Healing Rain in the right spot so the tank doesn't move at the last second and pull all the adds out of your Healing Rain, or else you're not going to do any damage at all. So that's kind of a really cool skill check in my mind. Yeah, again, I wasn't running Water Shield, and you might think, well, where are you getting your mana from? You get it from Mana Spring Totem, which is proccing all the time from your Riptides, basically. And then you're also getting it from Mana Tide Totem, which I'm just throwing down liberally now. So we're doing 36k HPS right here, and we're able to sustain like over 20k DPS because, again, we have Healing Rain on the ground, which is just doing all this passive damage that we haven't had before. Really, really love this new setup here. A couple of other buttons you can use to help give you passive healing And then it allows you to pump a lot of damage at the same time. And that's Ancestral Guidance. This thing is insane. It is probably the best cooldown that we have now. It is outrageous how strong this is. It's strong for a number of reasons. The biggest one is that it allows you to do damage and also heal everybody. So again, this is going to buy us time to put Healing Rain on the ground, to get out some Flame Shocks, and to cast our Chain Lightnings to be doing as much damage as we can. And we don't have to worry about anything. You don't even have to press Riptides when you're in a really solid AG window. You just don't. It's like absolutely crazy how much you can use that to save, to sort of heal everybody. Sorry, passively, while you're trying to do damage passively. So again, any tool you can get that allows you to pump more damage in a key, your team is going to love you for that. And if it happens to heal them all at the same time, well, then it's just gravy on top. So make sure you're using AG to its fullest effect. Very important cooldown there. Earthen Wall Totem, again, is another really important button. I just threw it down there. And Earthen Wall is, I think, undervalued by lots of different people. It is incredibly strong. Over the duration of a dungeon, it is going to do a huge amount of healing. As long as you're using it on cooldown, use it every minute and don't spare it. Here's an AG window right here. Watch everybody's health. I haven't pressed AG yet. I'm going to press it right now. A really good combo is to press AG with your Stormkeeper and then hit those big Stormkeeper Chain Lightnings, or like I'm doing right now, and everybody will get healed. I'm doing 16k right now, 17, 18k HPS, and I'm not pressing a healing spell. I'm pressing Chain Lightning and Healing Rain. Now I'll heal the tank because he's dying. I'll hit him with a huge healing surge here, get him back up. But we did a ton of HPS for free while also dealing damage. So again, really important. I'm going to skip past this guy because the warrior dies, kind of boring. And then the warrior has to run all the way back and we don't pull this next pack. It's kind of silly. So again, Ancestral Guidance, really, really big. Why is it big? Because it allows us to do damage while we're healing. That's so important. Again, always really important to do that. Last big thing I want to talk about for damage stuff is, let me actually just skip right to the boss here. The bird boss, this is a single target boss fight, and we are taking a talent called Master of the Elements. This is really important, and this is a buff that comes from our Lava Burst. Whenever you cast Lava Burst, your next spell is 20% more effective. That's how you need to read that. You can use it on healing. You can use it on damage. You can use it however you want. So right here you can see I fire off a Lava Burst, and then I cast a Riptide, and it's much, much stronger. Here comes another Lava Burst into a Lightning Bolt. I tried to combo every Lava Burst into a Lightning Bolt because that would buff the Lightning Bolt's damage by 20%. Once again, that's kind of how the skill works. And I tried to clear my buff there, but unfortunately that guy had the same swirly as I did. Here I get an Ascendance proc. Really nice. We just heal everybody up really quickly with that. Now we can do maximum damage right here. So this is where I want to be pressing basically Lava Burst into Lightning Bolt. I pressed Chain Lightning by accident, but this is the cadence that you want to have is press Lava Burst into another spell, then Lava Burst into another spell, then Lava Burst into another spell. You can Lava Burst into a Chain Heal and have a 20% stronger Chain Heal, which is super cool. Here I was trying to do the ball mechanic while also healing, while also doing damage. I probably should have just chilled out here because the boss was dying super quick. Anyway, here comes a Stormkeeper. I do a Lava Burst here. Lava Burst into my overloaded Lightning Bolt, which is really big there. So that was a 20% stronger Lightning Bolt, and people are dying. I'm not sure even which one he got hit by, but on a fight like this, you can really utilize Spirit Walker's Grace. I actually have it going right now. Just to actually try to resist the wind and move against the wind while still casting spells. That's something you can kind of do, which is really helpful. This next pack is kind of annoying, but yeah. Just to conclude on the Master of the Elements buff, especially on single target, you can alternate between Lava Burst into Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst into Riptide, Lava Burst into Healing Surge. If you have an undulation going, an undulation buff with the Master of the Elements buff, that Healing Surge is going to hit for like 80% more, 70% more. Like, that thing is going to absolutely wreck on the meters. So here's a really good example of why I like the Cudgel bonus to Cap Totem. So I stun everybody right here, and then the Cap Totem goes off again. Boom, another stun, just keeping everybody in place. This might be kind of bad on a Sanguine week, but on a non-Sanguine week, this is amazing. And we're pumping 40k DPS right now, while also healing. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to clear my buff, so I just reincarnate really quick, and then I hit my dash by accident. Drop a really awkward link, but it does keep everybody alive for the moment. That's all I needed. Buy myself some time. Spirit Link is another tool you can use to just buy yourself time. Obviously, you want to use Spirit Link when people need it, but again, it's all about giving yourself time so that you can get your DPS rolling. That's what you need as an not enhancement shaman, but as a Resto Shaman. And if you do it correctly, you'll be able to pump so much damage, which is really what you want to be doing. You're able to do that. You have all these tools for a reason. You got the tool belt. It's overflowing with tools for a reason, and you can use them all to your advantage. So that was a moment where I ended up using Spirit Link, but mostly because I made a mistake. One thing that is a little bit annoying about the Resto Shaman tree, although as I was thinking about it a little bit more, it kind of made more sense to me. But again, here's a cudgel moment where I do Cap Totem and it goes off twice. It just keeps all the mobs in place so you can nuke them down. One annoying thing about the talent tree is that you have to spend about 4 points in the top of the talent tree in order to really get Resto Shaman's damage unlocked. So you want to get Stormkeeper, and then there's a talent that just buffs your lightning damage altogether. You really want to take that. And then there is a couple of points. You have to get Healing Rain plus Acid Rain if you want to actually pick up Acid Rain. So it's a little bit annoying because you need to pick up all these extra talents just in order to... realistically, in order to do reasonable damage in a Mythic Plus key as a Resto Shaman. So, be that as it may, most of the healer specs do need to pick up, like they need to spend points in the talent tree to pick up damage. It just feels like for Resto Shaman, it hits a little bit harder, and I don't know why. It's a little bit more annoying. Yeah, and again, like for Holy Paladin, Priest, for example, they have to pick up the Holy Fire buff, plus they have to get Chastise. And then they have, there's about 3 talents altogether that they have to pick up just to get their Holy Fire to be really significant. So it is basically similar across the board for all the healers, but for Resto Shaman, it's just that it's all in the upper part of your tree, and it ends up overloading the upper part of your tree. You end up spending like 10 or 12 points basically on the upper part of your tree before you even start progressing down. So it feels a little bit awkward, but it is what it is. All the healers have to deal with that. Here I'm popping Spirit Walker's Grace so I can keep moving and channeling at the same time. Pop a Healing Rain down here to get some extra damage going. We are in Lust, so Stormkeeper, Chain Lightning, plus the Healing Rain ticking away. We're doing over 30k HP, DPS, sorry. The Healing Touch on the ad does get off here because nobody's paying attention, but it's fine. It's just a plus 10. Doesn't really matter. It's good for me just to sort of practice, go through the motions, get another Healing Rain down. Again, with this build, you want to maximize your Healing Rain. Try to get Healing Rain down as much as you possibly can. Even on boss fights, get it down because it will account for a huge amount of your damage overall. Here's another really great moment for Cap Totem to double stun these guys. There's the first stun. Right as they're coming out of this stun, they start trying to channel their Whirlwind again. Right there, you can see the Whirlwind, and it got interrupted. It's hard to see it, but it's right there. So that's why the Cudgel upgrade for it is so good. Now, everybody proceeds to just stand in the next Whirlwind like a bunch of idiots. I just dropped Link because they're going to die, and they're all being kind of stupid, and they don't care, and it's fine. It doesn't matter. This is what Spirit Link can do, man. If you want to troll a key, Spirit Link can save your butt for about 8 seconds or so. And then everybody starts getting wrecked, and I have to heal them up again. I think I popped AG right here. Ancestral Guidance. So watch this. Link ends. I pop AG, and I'm just pumping damage. I see everybody's health going down, but it's okay, because look at it. It's all going up with AG. AG's healing everybody. The Paladin had to heal himself, so that is on me. But there are situations like this where you can utilize Ancestral Guidance to just keep everybody going, and then once again, keep your damage flowing. That's what you want to be doing. Very, very huge. One other important caveat about this build is make sure that you consume your Tidal Waves buff. This is hilarious. Look at this. The Rogue's like, guys, let's skip this with my Shroud. And the Paladin's like, I'm going to Shroud right into the next pack, brother. This Paladin was just like, no, dude, screw your Shroud. I'm going. Oh my god, I thought that was so funny. Tidal Waves buff. When you cast Riptide, you get a Tidal Waves buff, and you can consume it with Healing Surge. When you do that, it reduces the cooldown of your totems. Very important, actually, to utilize that as much as possible, especially because we're also taking Undulation, so you have another reason to be casting Healing Surge. So this basically just means that your build consists of Riptiding all the time, Healing Stream Totem all the time, and then when people start to take real damage, you're smacking them with enormous Healing Surges. That's what you want to be doing, because that's going to cool down all of your totems, which is really good. Last little trash pack here. People start getting wrecked again. Another way you can use Spirit Link Totem actually is to save the tank. If the tank has like no cooldowns left, especially if you're in community, if you're on like Discord with the tank and he's like, listen, I got no cooldowns left, I feel like I'm gonna die, just run into melee and drop your Spirit Link Totem with your tank and get everybody else to run in there with them. Really important to do that, because it means that you can save the tank's life, essentially, by using your own life. Last point about the healing stuff is that Earth Shield is massive in this build. Really, really important, Earth Shield. We're taking the Earth and Harmony buff, which is a legendary from Shadowlands, and it really buffs your Earth Shield healing overall. It is so incredible by the end of the dungeon how much Earth Shield healing we actually were able to pull off. I love it. It's really great. So, yeah, that's another thing. Make sure that you keep your Earth Shields up on the tank. I would say you actually don't have to take the second Earth Shield point, the Elemental Orbit. You really don't have to, because we don't take Water Shield in this build anyway, so it doesn't really matter about having 2 different shields up. But here's the final boss, Echo of Doragosa. I'm going to go back to the gameplay, to my live game in a second, once we're done here. One thing you can use on Echo of Doragosa is to Wind Rush Totem everybody when you get sucked in. It's not the end of the world. Like, everybody is able to get out of it on their own, but I don't know, just in case somebody's stupid, you can help Wind Rush Totem them out. Right here, I drop it a little bit late. You should drop it before you get sucked in, but there you go, we're rushing out. Recap on all the tools that you can use to buy yourself time in order to do damage. We're talking about things like Spirit Link Totem. That can buy you a ton of time to do damage. Ancestral Guidance, biggest cooldown that you have. Use this puppy to buy yourself time to just do damage. It's amazing. Earth and Wall Totem is really good. Keep your Riptides going on everybody. Drop Healing Stream Totem all the time. You should drop a Healing Stream Totem like every 8 seconds. You should just pop one down to have it giving you that 10% crit buff. Really, really good. Make sure that you're using your Cap Totem all the time to double stun people. That's really cool, really helpful. Make sure you're maximizing your Master of the Element procs. Cast Lava Burst and then cast another spell. Cast Lava Burst and then cast another spell. You just be getting a 20% amp all the time, and it's really, really strong. So, again, that's the focus of this build, guys. You want to be using all the tools at your disposal as a Resto Shaman in order to keep Healing Rain on the ground so that it's doing damage, and to be pressing Chain Lightning as much as possible. Yes, we don't have as much passive healing or passive damage as some of the other casters do, some of the other healers, but the reality is that we can buy ourselves time with the spells that we do have. That's an important point to make, is that we may not have one spell that just puts a bunch of damage on the ground, but we do with Healing Rain now, so just make sure that you bought yourself enough time to actually press Healing Rain, and so that nobody's like dying. Okay, here's our damage overall. You can see Acid Rain absolutely pumping. It did as much damage as Chain Lightning. Just crazy. 35.5% of our damage from Healing Rain, making sure that it's in the right spot. It's just amazing. I actually love this. Here's our healing. Riptide, of course, Healing Surge, Healing Stream. I've been saying this the entire video. Just drop Healing Stream, drop Riptides on cooldown, press Healing Surge when people need it, when they're going to die. Do that, because you're going to have undulation in your talents down here, and it's going to be buffing your Healing Wave, like crazy. Imagine, so if you had a Master of the Elements buff, 20% plus 50%, that's 70% stronger on your Healing Surge, pumping out a bunch of healing. So make sure you use that. Again, Ancestral Guidance healing, huge. It would have been even better if I used it on cooldown. Earth and Wall, massive amounts of healing if I'd used it on cooldown. I could have put this thing down probably 3 or 4 more times. Earth Living Weapon doing really great. Actually, good healing from Healing Rain as well, which is super cool. If you have almost like a full melee group, Healing Rain gets so much benefit because it's also dealing a buttload of damage. So very cool, guys. I love the new build for Resto Shaman. I think it's really strong. I like the focus on Healing Stream Totem and Riptide and Healing Surge to carry your healing, and then you're just focusing. It gives you the time, buys you enough time to be able to just plop down a bunch of damage onto the enemies through Acid Rain and Chain Lightning. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is just kind of my first preliminary video on the new Resto Shaman. I think it's looking fantastic. They've got so many tools to buy them time to do damage and to do healing. It's looking really good. So let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. I love y'all. I'll see you in the next one.